Hey guys! This is part 5 of What If Naruto Can Level Up. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start.
We are pain, that's all. We are God.
Chapter 13, Unexpected. Many didn't know how to react the moment they heard both Naruto, the former dead last, and Sasuke, the top of the class and shoo-in for Rookie of the Year, were to face off against one another. On one hand, Naruto had shown incredible improvement, evidenced by him defeating Hibachi with a single blow to the head and then defeating Kiba, who was number 2 in taijutsu in their year. On the other hand, Sasuke was a prodigy and never lost a single taijutsu fight in his entire time at the academy. Coupled with his speed and ability to counter virtually any strike thrown at him, Sasuke's fighting style was no laughing matter. And Naruto knew this. Gaki, Uchiha, front and center, Anko ordered the two boys. Both Naruto and Sasuke entered the fighting ring and stared at one another. The moment their eyes made contact, the world outside the ring ceased to exist. They were in their own world now. And their world was one where only two fighters, and ultimately one winner, resided. Making the seal of confrontation, both fighters then backed away and got into their respective stances. Ready, fight! Anko shouted. Go, Sasuke-kun! The boys' fangirls cheered. Deciding to make the first move, Naruto launched himself at Sasuke and appeared at the Uchiha's side. Lashing out at the dark-haired academy student with a kick, Sasuke managed to duck and rolled just in time. Within a second, the Uchiha then performed a spinning jump kick towards Naruto, only for the blonde to block the attack by crossing his arms. When the tactic failed, Sasuke backed away only to become surprised as Naruto appeared in front of him and throw a punch at the Uchiha's face. Sasuke managed to bat away the fist and went through in a fist. Naruto barely managed to tilt his head out of the way in time and countered with another punch. The fist came in fast and Sasuke was unable to block the second one from striking him in the chest. The impact had enough force in it to send the air out of his lungs as well as send him skidding away. Point, Naruto! Fast, Sasuke groaned as he got back up and winced. The stinging sensation from the blow had begun, but Sasuke forced himself to ignore the pain and focus on the fight. The boy knew that Naruto was the faster of the two now, but Sasuke had better reflexes and knew how to read body language to an extent. Getting back into position, Sasuke decided to make the first move this time the moment Anko shouted fight. And Sasuke took off like a rocket. Naruto, however, merely met the boy head-on and then ducked low. The Uchiha realized that the boy was performing a swipe in the hopes to trip him up and send him tumbling. Sasuke leaped forward, Naruto's extended leg meeting the air below his body, and went into a roll. The Uchiha then planted his hands firmly on the ground, and in a display of incredible gymnastics the boy pivoted and righted himself. With Naruto's back turned to him, Sasuke took the advantage, pounced on the blonde, and threw a punch at the back of his head. But what the Uchiha didn't expect was the sudden donkey kick from the blonde that struck Sasuke squarely in the face. The force behind the kick along with the Uchiha's speed made the impact much more painful than what was originally expected, and a crack was heard amongst the crowd. Gah! Sasuke yelled in pain. His nose felt broken and bloody from the blow to his face. Many looked away or winced upon seeing the appendage. It wasn't a pretty sight. Point, Naruto! Anko said before moving into to help Sasuke. Normally I'd leave you like this, cuz in the battlefield there are gonna be moments where you'll be forced to fight in this condition. That being said, if your nose is broken we're gonna need to stop. Can't risk it getting worse or you may need surgery, Anko told him. I'm not quitting. The boy grunted despite the pain he felt, and Anko had to admit the kid had balls. Looking it over for a moment, Anko finally came up with a diagnosis. The woman wasn't a medic but had a good deal of understanding and knowledge on the human anatomy. You'll still need to see the nurse after, but luckily for you this is fixable. It's gonna hurt though, she told him and placed her thumbs on the side of his nose. I don't care, just fix ARRGHHHHH. Sasuke howled in agony at the sudden jerk Anko performed. The woman was physically realigning the boy's nose. Many cringed even more, and several of Sasuke's fangirls were distraught or fainted upon seeing what was happening to the boy. The process was quick, relatively speaking of course, as Anko had done this sort of thing countless times in the field to herself and friends. However, the procedure was by no means painless, especially for first-timers. There you go, duck butt. Good as new, Anko slapped the groaning Uchiha on the back, nearly making him fall over. You good to go? Breathing in as best he could to try and dull the pain, Sasuke nodded and got back into position. You'll pay for that, dope, the boy scowled as he saw the blonde. Ready and fight, Anko shouted. Both combatants met each other in the middle of the ring and began throwing blows at one another. None made contact except with the occasional block or being batted away. At the moment, Sasuke's anger, both at the pain and the fact he was losing, was fueling his strikes. However, unlike Kiba's sloppy ones, Sasuke's strikes were faster and slightly more focused. Both boys threw punches, kicks, elbows, even knee strikes at the other in the hopes of landing a hit. Finally, Sasuke managed a break when Naruto made a mistake and overreached on a punch. The Uchiha took the opportunity to grab hold, dragged the blonde across his leg and effectively tripped him. With no balance holding him up, Sasuke countered with a vicious front kick on Naruto's side and sent his opponent outside the ring face first into the dirt. Go, Sasuke-kun! The fangirls cheered along with several of the students who didn't care for Naruto. Point, Sasuke! Anko shouted once again. Come on, Gaki! Show them you can go all the way. You can do it, Naruto-kun, Hinata mentally cheered the boy on. Seeing him get this far astounded the pale-eyed girl. Naruto certainly came a long way from being dead last, but seeing him fight Sasuke and actually beating him was inspiring. If Naruto could do this, what's to say she couldn't do the same? Naruto merely scowled as he got off the ground, his fists, clenched in anger for making such a mistake. Ready, fight! Once more the two decided to get in close. The two throwing a flurry of blows at one another, with Sasuke performing counters that proved almost futile thanks to Naruto's superior speed or the blonde blocking just in time. It's over! Naruto declared as he threw in punch only for it to be caught by Sasuke, much to his embarrassment. Throwing in another punch, Sasuke caught Naruto's wrist and smirked. Kicking out at his locked and immobile opponent to get in a point, Sasuke and many others were caught off guard when Naruto jumped and wrapped his legs around Sasuke's torso. The sudden move sent both boys to the ground. Anko saw both boys struggled and grappled in the hopes of getting on top to try and get into a better position. With his greater strength, Naruto managed to get on top, but the boy's hands were still locked in front of Sasuke. But Anko knew that the boy wasn't bugging either, and with his arms in front of his face, the woman also knew that Naruto wouldn't be able to perform a headbutt like he did with Kiba. What are you gonna do now, Gaki? She wondered how Naruto was going to get out of this. When she saw Naruto smirk, the woman guessed the boy was about to do something. And Anko guesses it was going to be something good, too. When Naruto opened his hands, Sasuke felt a sudden, unexpected, and painful sensation in his eyes. On reflex, the boy released Naruto and brought his hands up to his face to wipe it away. By the time his mind realized what he had done, it was too late, and the boy felt a punch on his chest. He had lost. Point, and winner of the match, Uzumaki Naruto. A shocked Iruka announced at the unexpected outcome. That's my Gaki! Anko whopped at her ward's victory. Win! He cheated. Yeah. We all saw it! He threw dirt in Sasuke-kun's eyes. Another student shouted. Dirt? It was dirt. Sasuke had been defeated because dirt had gotten into his eyes. The boy continued to try and rub said dirt out of them in the hopes of seeing his opponent, and pay him back for the underhanded move. He only won because he fought dirty, and shut the fuck up, you brats. Anko bellowed, and many were now shaking. Iruka had often yelled during class whenever it got too loud, but this was on a whole different level. This woman was radiating anger upon them like a cloak. You think this is a game? You think an enemy you face is gonna play fair? Hell no! Anko shouted. Her announcement made them stop their ranting and pay attention. Sasuke stopped his internal 1-2 and listened to the woman. Anko, Iruka was quickly silenced by the look the woman gave him. Shut it, Yumino, these little shits need to hear this, she rounded back on the academy students who flinched at the woman's gaze. To start, I was here at the beginning of this whole thing along with a few others, and saying we weren't impressed by some of you is sugarcoating it. Most future Jounin Sensei's candidates did the same when looking for potential students. Yumino said you couldn't use ninjutsu, genjutsu, or bukijutsu. Last I recalled, throwing dirt into someone's eyes had nothing to do with chakra. It's still cheating. Someone said, and Naruto thought whoever did that was either very brave or very dumb to defy Anko. He was leaning more towards the latter. Who the fuck cares? So what if the Gaki cheated? We're ninja. Cheating and playing dirty are what we do. We do everything and anything to win. We're not training you to be samurai here if you're wanting a fair fight. Plus, Yumino never said anything about not playing dirty now, did he? The students all blinked at that and looked at their teacher, who merely nodded. It's true. All I said was no ninjutsu, genjutsu, or bukijutsu. I never said you weren't allowed to play dirty. Truthfully, it was a hidden test the academy had that many never accomplished. Most had forgotten about the test actually because of it rarely being figured out. For Naruto, the former dead last, to figure it out meant something about his skills. Sasuke scowled. Both at the fact that he had lost and having not realized that bit of information, and the fact that Naruto did. What Naruto did was legal, and despite wanting to dispute it, Anko's words were true. A ninja was meant to fight dirty, many of his family members such as his mother having said so, he recalled. While pissed at the fact he lost in such a way, Sasuke begrudgingly acknowledged that what Naruto had just done was to be expected in the future. You win this round. But the next time we fight your tricks won't work on me twice, Dobe. Loathed as he wanted to admit it though, Sasuke had to applaud Naruto for his quick thinking. But the Uchiha vowed not to lose next time. Hell, out of all the students here only a few of you have what it takes to be ninja, the Gaki here included. She pointed her thumb at her ward. You think that the enemy you'll face will fight fairly? You think they'll give you time to recover? Hell no! You're either a dumbass or gonna be pushing up daisies if you think so otherwise. An enemy that surrenders can easily stab you in the back the moment you let your guard down. A person will do almost anything to survive or win. For example, here she appeared behind Iruka with two serpents poised to strike at his jugular, and tossed Naruto a kunai. Gaki, take that kunai and slice the Uchiha's throat or else Yumino dies, she threatened, and using its fang, one of her serpents drew a slight amount of blood from Iruka's throat. Much to the horror of students for how callously she said it, and the sight of precious life fluid slithering down his neck. I can't, Naruto said. Why not? Because even if I had the intention of killing the team, here Sasuke's fangirl scowled at him, what's stopping you from killing Iruka-sensei? As much I don't want Iruka-sensei to die, you have all the leverage, Naruto begrudgingly admitted, and Anko smiled. On the upside, at least this way we don't get to hear his history lessons anymore. Naruto! Iruka shouted at the little shit, making Anko laugh at the comment. Other than the history bit, good answer, Anko released Iruka. The Gaki's right. Even if he killed the Uchiha, there's nothing that prevents me from killing Yumino anyway. Were this in the battlefield, instead of facing 3 genin and a jounin, I'd now have 2 genin at my mercy because 2 members of their team are now dead. With 3 members left you have a better chance at survival, slightly better, but it's better than nothing. That was one thing he did right. Can anyone tell me what was the other? The academy students were left stunned by the question, and when it looked like no one was about to answer, Anko took matters into her own hands. Oh, for the love of, she sounded off a string of colorful swears, Pinky. She called Sakura out. What did he do right? Not kill Sasuke-kun? She answered. Besides that, Anko asked once more. He didn't charge in? Good answer, still wrong. Big bone. Anko shouted at Chuji, same question. Chuji honestly didn't know, he thought his actions through? Yes, but wrong. Pale eyes. She called Hinata out, earning an eat from the girl. What did he do right? Ano. Hinata stuttered from being put on the spotlight but answered still. He stalled for time? Bingo. Someone gets it. Thank you. Anko was happy to see at least one of them get it, and the praise caused Hinata to blush, even more so when Naruto grinned at her. Stalling for time. Believe it or not, a single second in the ninja world can decide if someone lives or dies. By stalling for time as much as he could, the Gaki could have given another shinobi the opportunity to arrive, sneak up and disarm me. letting Yumino go free and allowing the Gaki or someone else to charge in and land a blow that could either kill me or knock me out. Many actually began to contemplate her words, some even glancing at Naruto. It wasn't in awe though, more curious and confusing really. For so long many had thought Naruto to be a talentless loser who got bad grades at everything he did. Some still did even when his grades started getting better. Now though some began to think that maybe it wasn't the case. Alright, enough about that, put the Gaki's name back and let's get on with it, Anko announced. Wait, you're putting his name back in? A student asked. Damn straight, Anko nodded. When you're in the field anything can happen. You may have won the first fight but you can just as easily find yourself facing off against someone else. While Iruka wouldn't have done this, the man couldn't fault Anko's reasoning. In less than 2 months the students would graduate, should they pass that is, and it was his job to make sure they were prepared as best as he could. Many of them weren't ready at the moment. Next we'll have Haruno Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto. Several students cringed upon hearing that. It was no secret Naruto was infatuated with the pink-haired academy student. Too bad for him it was completely one-sided seeing as how she was one of Sasuke's fangirls. Shit! Naruto cursed, it just had to be Sakura-chan, Naruto thought. Fighting Sasuke was one thing. The boy had been wanting to fight him for a long time since he lost against him years ago. Fighting Sakura is different however. Gaki, if you throw a match or go easy on her because of a fucking one-sided crush you're gonna regret it. Anko's harsh words made him cringe. The woman had taken to know as much as she could about her student, and found out about his crush on the pink-haired girl. The woman wasn't impressed with the boy's choice. Not only was his affections one-sided, to which the pink-haired civilian had made her intentions crystal clear, but the boy had no tact and could not take a hint. Persistence was good and all, but at some point one needed to take a hint, or back off rather than fan the flames. Anko would freely admit that the girl was very intelligent for someone her age, smarter than even some chunin. Her chakra control was phenomenal as well, even if part of the reason was because of how small her reserves were. However, Anko knew that intelligence alone meant nothing on the battlefield. Physically the girl was sorely lacking. Her stamina and chakra levels were below average, even with her father being a former genin, and her speed wasn't all that impressive either compared to the Yamanaka and Hyuga. They were still much better than the rest of the civilian academy students, but low still. Unfortunately, the academy now placed a higher emphasis on academics than the practical aspect. If I ever find out who's responsible, she mentally snarled. Needless to say, Anko's fury would make them wish they hadn't been born should she catch them. Shaking her head of such thought, Anko said, to your positions. Quest alert. Tough decisions. Main quest, win the fight. Main quest, take a dive. Main quest 1, completion, 200 EXP, plus 500 reputation with Anko, minus 500 reputation with Sakura. Main quest 2, completion, 200 EXP, plus 500 reputation with Sakura, minus 500 reputation with Anko? Quest is mandatory. Naruto honestly felt conflicted at the moment. If he lost the fight, Sakura would be happy and he'd get reputation points with her, but would lose some major ones with Anko and vice versa if he won. There was also factoring in the Naruto didn't know what it was and was almost afraid to find out. Breathing in, Naruto thought about this logically. Most likely it was his gamer's mind kicking in. If he won, Naruto would merely lose reputation point that he could get back with Sakura. If he lost, he'd be unable to continue the other quests that would increase his taijutsu and other rewards. When he weighed the pros and cons, Naruto realized he'd essentially get even more if he won the fight. Sorry, Sakura-chan, Naruto hoped the girl would forgive him and got into fighting position. You'll pay for what you did to Sasuke-kun, Naruto. Sakura scowled. Anko and the 2 academy teachers could clearly see that the girl's anger was getting the best of her and clouding her common sense and judgment. Begin! Anko shouted. Sakura's charge at Naruto was terrible. While she was one of the better academy students, and her speed was much greater than a civilian, it was evident that Sakura was physically lacking among ninja standards. When she was but a few steps away from him, Naruto dodged her punches with ease. Had this been a couple of months ago, the outcome would be different. Now, however, Naruto saw her punches as if they were coming at him in slow motion. Rather than hit her, Naruto grabbed Sakura's extended leg and pushed the girl out of the ring with it. "Point, Naruto," Iruka said, and Anko smiled whilst he saw Sakura scowl. Damn it, the scowl she directed was one of pure anger. But Naruto had made his decision. He couldn't let up or let Sakura win. "Begin!" Sakura didn't charge in again like she did before. Instead, she opted a defensive stance. Anko had to admit that it was a pretty good one. The girls certainly got the Academy kata down, but it wasn't enough against a physically superior opponent, and Anko wasn't impressed. Her point was proven when Naruto suddenly appeared on Sakura's left and pushed the girl out of the ring once again before she could react to his presence. The match was clearly one-sided. That much was evident. Unlike Ino, who would use her feminine charms in a fight to help her win, Iruka knew well enough that Sakura was only flirty outside of combat. The man had seen enough. Winner, Naruto. Both students were shocked that the next round wasn't declared. "But we still have one more round," Sakura stated. "Girlie, if this were a real fight, I'd have killed you in several ways before you had time to blink," was Anko's blunt answer. Sakura-chan. Naruto went to help his crush only to get an angry and sad look from the girl. Naruto felt the words die in his throat as he saw her get up and move as far away from him. While he wanted to go after her, the boy knew better. Sakura was angry and emotional. When that happened, she stopped thinking rationally and got physical. Both he and Kiba were often on the receiving end of her fist when they pissed her off. Quest completed. Tough decisions. Main quest: win the fight. Accomplished. Main quest: take a dive. Failed. Rewards: 200 EXP, plus 500 reputation with Anko, minus 500 reputation with Sakura. For not taking a dive, your relationship with Anko remains strong, however your actions have also soured your reputation with Sakura. Actions have consequences, and your relationship with Sakura will not go beyond friendship. Are you fucking kidding me? Naruto couldn't believe it getting any worse, yet was proven wrong. A simple fight such as this wrecked any chance he'd have at a relationship with Sakura-chan. It was bullshit, really. Fan-fucking-tastic. Naruto was glad his relationship with Anko was still intact, but the blonde was still angry about what just happened regardless. Actually, now that he thought about it, Naruto wondered what would have happened if he took a dive. If me taking a dive means a potential relationship, does it also mean Anko would have stopped being my friend? The mere thought of it actually gave him pause. Out of all the people in Konoha, Anko was one of the few who had actually taken the time to teach him and do things properly. The woman had actually helped him. Instead of casting him aside or think him to be nothing more than a loser like the vast majority of Konoha. Though she did say some of my skills sucked, he recalled, but even then she helped improve them. Ah, damn it, this is too freaking confusing. Naruto was conflicted. Yumino, take over. Looks like the Gaki needs a pep talk, Anko told him and took a hold of her pupil by the shoulder. Iruka nodded once his gaze locked on Naruto's form. The man knew the boy had a crush on the pink-haired girl. Fighting and defeating her probably wasn't an easy decision despite the fight clearly being one-sided. How you feeling, kid? Anko finally asked him when they were a good distance away. Like crap, Naruto told her. Crushes come and go, Gaki. Believe me. It's not a crush, it's love, Naruto said, but Anko laughed. Love? Kid, you're 12? And as harsh as it sounds, your background doesn't exactly make you an expert on what love is. It harsh and blunt, but it was the reality of it all. Naruto's understanding of love was flawed, very flawed. The boy knew kindness, yes, but love was completely different, and the boy was confusing the two. Naruto scowled at the woman for that. It's love, and it's not just that. Anko rolled her eyes at his stubbornness but listened anyway. Go on. My ability said that because I didn't take a dive, my relationship with Sakura wouldn't go past friendship. To Naruto, it felt like something was being taken from him without the ability to fight back or do something about it. Ah, I see, Anko now understood. Gaki, let me ask you this. What did you see in her in the first place? Huh? I mean, what got you attracted to her? From what I've seen, it was pretty clear she had no intention of dating you. Naruto scowled when he heard that. The girl has eyes all over the Uchiha like the rest of those fangirls of his. And no offense, but you can do a hell of a lot better than her, Anko said. What? Naruto was now angry that she said such a thing. Sakura's the best. Academically, yes. As a kunoichi, she's piss poor and needs to shape up before I even consider calling her one. Seeing him flare up, Anko decided to go with another tactic. But you still haven't answered my question, Gaki. Why are you attracted to her? As he went to respond, Naruto couldn't find the words to say how felt. Did she do anything to make you crush on her? She asked. No, he answered. Has she ever said anything nice to you before? Now that he thought about it, not really. I mean, during our first year she was nicer, but then she okay. Now I get it. Anko understood. Gaki, hate to break this to you, but what you feel ain't love or really a crush. It's a desire for something you lack. Let me guess. During your first year when you all started, you wanted to prove you were all hot shit, right? Yeah, Naruto nodded. But it didn't really work out, and before you gained a rep as the class clown and loser, she probably said something nice to you, right? Again, Naruto nodded. But then you gained a rep, and as Sakura got older she stopped being nice and her attention was more focused on the Uchiha, right? Another nod on his part. Don't you fucking see? The girl was one of the few to give you positive attention, and you didn't want it to go away. Just like with Konoha, you resorted to pranks to get attention, and to get her attention you started annoying her to try and make her like you to get it back. But you kept fucking up. In your mind you thought maybe it was okay so long as she spoke or paid attention to you, but it doesn't work that way, kiddo. Gaki, I'm gonna be honest. Your affections for her are pathetic and non-existent. Anko ignored his hurt look. It is. You're trying to get negative attention from a girl who doesn't want it, and you're just making it worse. You don't care anymore if the attention you get from her is good or bad. The only attention you should be getting is good, and it ain't happening. Love doesn't work that way, Anko. Stop, he thought. Do you know what she likes? Stop. What's her favorite color? What she likes to eat? Anko continued. Please stop. What are her favorite activities? Her pastimes? What does she want to do in the future? Stop it! Does she even believe you can become Hokage? The last one was the final nail on the coffin, and Naruto fell to his knees, tears falling from his eyes. The boy's head felt heavy for a moment before his gamer's mind kicked in and took a load off. He didn't want to admit it, but it was true. He knew none of those things, and Sakura didn't believe he could become Hokage. I know you don't like hearing this, Naruto. But it has to be said. If you can't accept the reality of it, it's not going to end well. It's obvious that deep down you know it won't work out. Why the hell do you think that? Naruto wondered where she got that from. Because you wouldn't have chosen me over if you thought otherwise, Anko finished. If it was love or infatuation, you would have chosen the girl. Honestly, I'm touched, Gaki. Hardly anyone's ever picked me over someone else. Usually it's the opposite. Does it get any easier? Naruto asked. What I'm feeling? Anko looked at him and gave her honest answer. No, it doesn't, Gaki. Crushes come and go, and opportunities to love and fall in love are the same. But sometimes realizing the reality that your love may or may not happen or even work out is something that will never go away. I know it hurts, I've been there, and it'll take a while, but in time you'll realize that you and Sakura weren't meant to be. Anko also thought the boy could do a hell of a lot better than Sakura at the moment. As she was now, Sakura was an excuse of a kunoichi like many others, but Anko knew that the girl could potentially come around. Besides, just because you're not together doesn't mean you can't be friends, you know. Here she smiled. Some people just ain't meant to be together, and are better off that way. You want to be in a relationship, go ahead. Baby steps first though. You may be a genin in a couple of months, but lay off the boyfriend/girlfriend crap till you get older and focus on here and now. Who knows what the future has for you? Anything can happen. As she finished, Naruto wiped away his tears. The pain was still there, and while the speech helped, it would take a while to truly get over it. Thanks, Anko-sensei. Bah! Enough of this mushy-feely touchy crap. The woman proceeded to give him a noogie. It's gonna ruin my reputation. Anko honestly was just pulling some of this stuff out of her ass. The woman had never really comforted someone like this before. TCH, Naruto lightly chuckled and returned to the ring in time to see Hinata being declared the winner lose against Shino. The match had been close, as while Hinata had the upper hand in taijutsu, the Aburaim had more confidence and precise strikes. When both Naruto and Hinata faced off against each other, Hinata's performance became sloppy. The boy had managed to land a blow on the girl, even if it was a light one. It was obvious the girl had difficulties concentrating, and while she managed to block and evade his strikes as best she could and shoot in some of her own, none made contact with him. Begin! Iruka declared on the potential final round. Naruto was the superior fighter, but Hinata could surprise them. Her strikes and shots were much more precise and fluid than Sakura's, and she had done much better in her other matches according to Mizuki. It was only because of her crush on Naruto that prevented her from fighting properly. At least the girl's actually fighting who she's attracted to instead of giving up. Anko knew about the crush through Kurenai, and while Anko didn't care much for them, at least the girl was willing to fight. It was a plus in her books. Iruka watched as Naruto appeared at Hinata's side and made to strike. However, the Hyuga stumbled on her foot and bumped into the blonde. Both Naruto and Hinata fell over on top of one another, and the next thing he knew, the man heard Anko laughing at their predicament. Both academy students' lips were pressed against the others. Ah. Sorry, Naruto apologized, got off her, and hoped the girl didn't hit him for the accident. To his surprise, though, Hinata remained still. Hinata? Appearing in the ring, still laughing, Anko clicked her fingers in front of the girl's eyes and was shocked to see she had fainted with her eyes open. She's out, Gaki. Gotta say this wins one for the books. She's out? Did she hit her head? Anko and many others shook their heads or groaned. While he improved, Naruto was still Naruto, it would seem. Great, that's one more thing I have to teach him. There was no way in hell she was going to have Naruto remain a clueless idiot. But before she could tell him, an Umbu appeared on the field and called her out. Mitarashi-san, the Hokage requests your attendance immediately, the bird-masked Umbu informed her. Yeah, I'll get right on it. The moment she finished did the Umbu flicker and disappear. Well, that's a wrap, kiddos. See ya, Gaki, and congrats on the win. Anko smirked before she flickered away like the Umbu. Quest completed. Ready, fight. Main quest. Become one of the top 3 fighters. Accomplished. Side quest. Become the top fighter. Accomplished. Hidden objective. Pass hidden test. Accomplished. Total rewards. 1150 EXP. Plus 3 STR. 500 reputation with Iruka. Advanced Academy Taijutsu Scroll. Plus 3 attribute points. Anko's right, Naruto. You won the tourney. Iruka smiled and handed the boy a scroll. You've earned this. It took a second before Naruto realized he had done it. He had won the fights. Yeah. Arf. Hadamaru barked at his partner's happiness. Many in the training area still couldn't believe it, though. The dead last had won the fighting tourney and made it look almost like child's play. Can this day get any better? The blonde wondered as he and his Nikan left the academy grounds to go and meet with Hiruzen. Meanwhile, are you serious? Anko was wide-eyed, staring in disbelief at the new vest she was now holding. 100%, Anko, Hiruzen smiled. The man had seen everything she did through his crystal ball and knew he was making the right choice. While some are against it, I am the Hokage and you've earned your promotion to Jounin. The woman was speechless. When she had been called to his office, Anko thought the man merely wanted her report on the mission that took so long. Getting promoted to Jounin was the last thing on her mind. Hokage-sama. Thank you? You've earned it, Anko. The man smiled and saw her try to discreetly wipe away a tear. Now then, I know it's early, but have you considered what we discussed before we left? The discussion he referred to had been Anko becoming a Jounin sensei. While full-fledged Jounin were often in that position, it wasn't uncommon for a Tokubestu Jounin to have a genin team of his or her own. Yeah, I did. What the hell, I'll give it a shot, she grinned. The woman knew she was going to have to teach a group sometime in the future. Most Jounin did. Might as well do it now with Naruto and 2 others she had her eye on. Excellent then. As soon as the other Jounin get here we can begin then, Hiruzen stated. 5 minutes later the office of the Hokage started filling up with Jounin. Upon spotting Anko with a Jounin vest, those closest to her congratulated the woman on her promotion. Others were shocked that the woman got the promotion and the fact she was also being considered as a potential instructor candidate. Congrats, Anko. Kakashi was the last one to enter and praised the woman for her achievement, never once looking away from his newest piece of literature, or as Kurenai liked to call it, pornographic trash. Now that you've all gathered, I believe we can begin. Hiruzen stared at the many would-be jounin instructors. I'm surprised Hitaki's on time for once, Anko spoke, wearing her new jounin vest with pride. Though Anko would most likely forego wearing it around Konoha and stick to her regular attire, the woman still couldn't get over her promotion. Relatively speaking, Anko had now replaced Kurenai as the rookie of the group. In all honesty, if one were to ask Anko if she was to become a jounin sensei some months back, she would have laughed in their face. That mindset had changed since she met and began training Naruto. Did you say something, Anko? Many chuckled or sighed at the man's antics. I ain't got Kakashi. That's not gonna work on me. Oh, and by the way, Seiki ends up with Nariko, she finished and gave a devilish smirk to the man reading the newest edition of Ika Ika. Several men groaned or began weeping, much to the disgust of several kunoichi. Why am I not surprised? Kurenai sighed at her friend's antics. Anko had always been sexually promiscuous, using her sex appeal to her advantage on several occasions, and reading such books to help give her ideas. The woman didn't whore around like many thought her to be, but the woman didn't exactly do herself any favors at times. Wait, isn't Seiki a woman's name? Anko merely gave Kurenai a blank look. Yeah, what's your point? Oh, lovely, the genjutsu mistress of Konoha scrunched up her face in disgust. The woman didn't bother hiding it from the perverts in the room. Part of her wasn't surprised that there would be such a theme in these types of books. Well, that was just mean, Kakashi sulked at finding out an important piece of plot. He'd still read it, but it wouldn't be as thrilling. Man, that's just sad, Asuma chuckled. I wouldn't talk if I were you, Asuma. Anko shot back and the man stiffened, even more so when he saw Kurenai shifting her gaze towards him. As I recall, you also ahadaha, the man covered Anko's face before she could finish. Though it didn't stop Kurenai from scowling at her secret lover. Now I don't know what you're talking about. You can lick my hand all you want, I'm not gonna ouch. The man took his hand away, a bite mark firmly visible on the palm. Tasty, but I could do without the ash aftertaste. Anko licked her lips and made several shudder. While looking impassive at the event happening before him, mentally Hiruzen weep. The man not only had just gotten the book from his student, but also only just recently started reading it. Damn it, Anko. Getting the room back under order, Hiruzen began the meeting once more. Settle down, everyone, the man had their full attention. Now then. As you all know, the academy graduation ceremony is less than a couple of months away. All of you were given a report of the potential future genin the academy has to offer. Do any of you have suggestions on who you want? I do. Anko jumped up and down, her arm waving in the air like a child. Yes, Anko, the man was surprised how eager she was. Uzumaki Naruto, Yamanaka Ino, and Hyuga Hinata, Anko announced. I can understand Naruto, but why the other two, Anko? Hiruzen asked. Truthfully, the man knew his son wanted to continue the tradition of forming the Ino Shikacho team with the newest generation, and Kurenai had a vested interest in Hayashi's daughter. Simple, I know the gaki in and out, and still have tons to teach him for one. 2. Inoichi's brat surprised me the last time I saw her, and she's got guts. Her natural flexibility and her clan's techniques and background make her the perfect candidate to learn about interrogation. You plan to teach a child interrogation? Irika asked in disbelief. The moment they put on the headband is the moment they stop being kids, Yumino. Anko scowled and the man flinched. Besides, in the past the Yamanaka began teaching kids the basics of interrogation should they ever meet someone capable of resisting their mind techniques. And the Hyuga? Hiruzen asked. Easy. Her eyes allow for long-range scouting and her taijutsu allows her to disable her opponents when she gets in close, Anko reasoned. Of course she's gonna need some work done. Kurenai frowned at the words but couldn't help but agree with her friend's assessment. Hinata had confidence issues, partially in fault to her father and her traumatic childhood. having lost her mother because of childbirth on the same night she lost her uncle and was roughly kidnapped by the Kumo ambassador years ago. So you're trying to create a tracking, capture, and interrogation team? Kakashi assessed. In a manner of speaking, Anko acknowledged. Because of his incredible levels of chakra coupled with his speed and strength, Naruto's gonna be the muscle of the three. When you include that mud of his, they can basically beat the hell out of their opponents and wear them down. Hato's got keen senses too, so he'll be able to detect things we may miss and shouldn't be underestimated. With her eyes, Hinata's the scout and the one who immobilizes them with her love taps. Kurenai smirked lightly. The woman would have loved to see the Hyuga clan's reaction to Anko calling their famed taijutsu the gentle fist as love taps. When you factor in her chakra control and her basic medical skills, the girl could also be classified as the team medic. Lord knows how banged up the Gaki gets when we train. Several jounin just deadpanned at that tidbit of information. Anko rarely did things half-assed, and her methods, while unorthodox and intense, were effective. The Yamanaka is simple. She's the infiltrator, the interrogator, and a potentially deadly femme fatale. Femme fatale? Asuma had to admit that was a first during one of these. The girl's young, but she'll easily grow up into a beauty and start turning heads. Already is, actually. She used her sex appeal to fight a superior opponent, and almost won. The girl's got brains, wit, charms, and looks as a weapon. Combine that with some poison and a bit of refinement, and you've got yourself a deadly kunoichi. Anko knew that while Hinata and Ino wouldn't really be powerhouses like Naruto and Hadamara, they had other strengths going for them that neither males had. Interested, Hiruzen mused. While it was uncommon for a team to have two kunoichi, 3 if one counted the jounin, and one male shinobi, it happened nonetheless. Both Naruto's mother and Hinata's mother had been part of a 3 kunoichi team along with Uchiha Mikoto. One that was led by his late wife, Biwako. Having a team with only one male genin and the rest being female wasn't that bad or disconcerting. Do I hear any counters? I actually wanted Ino to restart the Ino Shikacho trio. We all know how deadly and effective the past generations have been, Asuma said. And I actually wanted Hinata under my care, seeing as how I've known her the longest and know what she needs to improve on. With a little training and being teamed up with Shino and Kiba, they'd make an excellent tracking team, Kurenai explained. I'm good, really. It would have been interesting to teach Naruto some ninjutsu, but his fighting style, and what he has, is too different from my own. It would clash more so than anything, Kakashi said. While he would have liked to have taught his sensei's son, the man wasn't going to jeopardize his growth under Anko from what he heard about the boy. Hiruzen stroked his beard, contemplating what he was going to do. Yeah, right, he heard Anko mutter. Problem, Anko? Hiruzen asked. Permission to speak freely, Hokage-sama? She asked. Granted, the elderly man knew he might regret it, but honestly wished to hear what she had to say. Both Nai-chan and Asuma's suggestions are flawed as hell, Anko honestly said. And that's sugar-coating it. Explain, Hiruzen asked her, all the while applauding the woman for toning down the usual profanity. Okay, I'll admit with the smokestack that the Ino Shikacho team has been used and done for generations and to deadly effect, Anko admitted, and Asuma didn't look insulted by the nickname. That being said, sir, it's been done time and time again. New chapter, same old content. We're ninja, and to win fights we need to be unpredictable. Yeah, what's your point? Asuma asked. The Ino Shikacho isn't unpredictable. Sure, their teamwork is recorded as being one of the best in ninja history. But here's the thing. They've been doing the same song and dance routine since the time they were founded centuries ago. You know what that means? The way they fight, the way they think, basically everything about the Ino Shikacho teams have been recorded throughout history. Which means that during that time span the enemy has come up with ways to counter their moves. Sure, they make an awesome and fearsome team, but put them against someone who knows how to fight them, and they are almost sitting ducks. Their strengths are their biggest weakness. Their techniques are still deadly and useful, but are only really effective when used in tandem with each other's. But if you teach one of them something they don't know, something the enemy won't expect, and catch them off guard, and the enemy is left at their mercy, Kurenai finished. Exactly. Unfortunately, I know that Smokestack here isn't going to do that based on his past reputation. Asuma didn't bother denying it. The man was laid back and didn't bother doing things unless they were necessary. You can have the Nara and the Akimichi for all I care. I got no time or desire to teach lazy bums. And the Hyuga girl? Kakashi asked her. Quite frankly, and don't say this to be mean, Nai-chan. Her growth and skill as a kunoichi at the moment will be hampered under Kurenai, was Anko's blunt answer. Many near them backed away with the exception of Kakashi and Asuma. While it was unlikely, both knew they may have to restrain them if it came to that. I beg your pardon. Kurenai looked and was insulted by the comment made by her friend. I've known Hinata for a long time and I know what she needs. You've been jounin for less than a day now, Anko. What makes you the expert all of a sudden? She asked hotly, her eyes Queen of Konoha persona coming into play. 2 months, Nai-chan. Anko's response confused not only Kurenai but several of the other jounin too. In 2 months since I was assigned as the Gaki's mentor, I managed to get him to do better at the academy. Not only that, but many thought the brat was gonna be the dead last, too. Guess what? Thanks to me, the Gaki's now in the middle ranking. Anko acknowledged that part of it was also thanks to his unique gamer ability. However, none here needed to know that, and the kunoichi still played a major role in it too despite said ability. A lot of people thought it was impossible for the Gaki to show improvement, Nai-chan. Not only did he thrash those wannabe ninja during the taijutsu about half an hour ago, but he also beat the top of the class in taijutsu. What? Kurenai was left in disbelief, and she wasn't the only one. That's right. The Gaki beat the Inuzuka and the Uchiha, she smirked. Ask Yumino, he organized the whole thing till I took over. Anko's words had many jounin looking at the academy instructor for confirmation. Irika for his part merely nodded with a smile, it's true. Naruto defeated both Kiba and Sasuke. Damn, Asuma was pretty impressed. The man had heard about Sasuke being a prodigy like his older brother, and with Uchiha clan's Sekendo Taijutsu style it wouldn't be an easy fight. It was an impressive fighting style that was only enhanced by the Sharingan, but even it was very effective and formidable. Likewise, the Inuzuka were known for their taijutsu as well, and their speed and feints were pretty well known. You need to face facts, Nai-chan. You're coddling the kid. You're too emotionally attached to push her beyond her limits. I'm attached to the Gaki, but I don't let it impede me from pushing him. I've done in 2 months what you have yet to do in 2 years. I'm not saying you didn't do anything, the girl's better than what she used to be. And I know that they're both different, the Gaki's got more piss and vinegar in him, but 2 years and with little improvement. Stop. Kurenai's eyes were shadowed and her fists were trembling. Please stop, Anko. I've heard enough as well, Hiruzen butted in before it escalated further. I've made a decision. Anko, pending their results at the academy and should they pass, I'm assigning Yamanaka Ino, Uzumaki Naruto and Hyuga Hinata under your tutelage as teammate, he smirked, but you get to tell Inoichi, Shikaku, and Chusa why the next formation of Ino Shikacho is being skipped a generation. Ah shit, the other jounin laughed at her misfortune and wished to see that meeting. One by one the jounin informed Hiruzen on who they wanted to be a part of their team. With Kakashi his primary choice was Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura and Inuzuka Kiba. With Asuma it was Nara Shikamaru, Akimichi Tsuji, and Aburame Shino. When the last one was done, Hiruzen dismissed all of the jounin except for Kurenai. I'm afraid you won't be getting a team this year, Kurenai, the man sadly informed the woman. Hokage-sama, Kurenai began but stopped when Hiruzen raised his hand. Kurenai, I have faith in your abilities to teach and lead others. I wouldn't have had you promoted otherwise, Kurenai smiled at the man's words. However, Anko is right. The facts speak for themselves, and assigning Hyuga Hinata to you would be detrimental to her growth. And with the incident with your last student, I think it may be wise if I postponed you from taking the position of jounin instructor at the moment. Kurenai winced, and was glad that the office had only her and the Hokage at the moment. The incident with Kurenai's last student, Karama Yakumo, whom she had tutored part-time a year previous, had been a disaster. While the girl was born with a permanent illness that prevented her from performing the physical tasks of being a shinobi, she had incredible intelligence and creativity. She was also prodigious in the art of genjutsu, and in time Kurenai knew Yakumo could easily surpass her. Kurenai wouldn't be surprised if the girl had been released either. Then came the day she discovered Yakumo's secret when she overheard some Kurama clan members. What she heard had been vague, but Kurenai summed up that her powers had resulted in the creation of a second entity inside her. One that was supposedly of dark origin, and the clan members feared she'd turn on them once she became powerful enough. In the end, Kurenai did what she thought was best and sealed up the girl's powers to prevent them from getting out of control. A few members of the Kurama clan hadn't been pleased with that little stunt. Kurenai ended up not only destroying a young girl's dream along with her faith and trust in her, but ruined a clan's chance at return to glory. During the era of warring states, the clan was highly feared as the clan of demonic illusionists, as their genjutsu caused many to become mentally shattered, comatose, or become frightfully catatonic and left at their mercy. They weren't as powerful or on the same class such as the Uchiha and Senju, but were one of the few clans that were very damn close. However, the clan had suffered over the years because of the world wars and soon fell out of the limelight. Yakumo's skill was the clan's chance at a comeback, and Kurenai, who had learned some of their genjutsu as payment, had taken it away from them. To prevent the clan from taking action against her, Hiruzen informed them that he had given the order and subdued the more rowdy members. Being Hokage and the most powerful ninja in the elemental countries at the moment made the few that wanted retribution suddenly have a sudden change of heart. The clan was angry, but not stupid. Hiruzen was old and no longer in his prime, but he was still a powerful force to be reckoned with despite his advanced age. However, as I said, I would not have promoted you if you didn't have the right skill set. Therefore, I'm assigning you as an assistant jounin instructor. Whenever one of the instructors needs help or is required to take a mission outside Konoha beyond the capabilities of his or her genin, you will take charge, Hiruzen stated. Truthfully, Kurenai didn't know whether to be thankful or insulted by the opportunity. While she'd be allowed to teach, she'd basically be a second choice and second fiddle really. Though Kurenai knew it was her fault. She failed not only one student but also barely improved her current ward of 2 years. Anko, a person who didn't care for teaching others, had managed to improve the former dead last in 2 months. It was an eye-opener really, and as much as she didn't want to admit it, Kurenai had to agree with her friend's statement. She had been coddling and holding Hinata back from unlocking her true potential. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Kurenai bowed to her leader and then left. The man sighed as Kurenai left. The elderly Hokage disliked moments like this. Kurenai was a relatively new jounin compared to the others, but her skill in genjutsu was unmatched in Konoha. She was no Senjutoka or Hozuki genjutsu in the art, but given time the woman could potentially rival the Senju and Nidame Mizuki's skills in the art of illusions. Her skill in illusionary along with her performance record was one of the main reasons why she was promoted to jounin 3 years ago. But like everyone, the woman wasn't perfect. While he originally thought that Kurenai was ready to take on a team of her own, Anko had made some valid points. The Hyuga clan was a prestigious clan in Konoha, one of the original 4 noble clans. With the downfall of the Senju clan during the Second Shinobi World War, and Uchiha clan some years ago, the Hyuga were the strongest clan in Konoha. The man couldn't afford another incident with a clan if Kurenai coddled and hampered the growth of the clan head's daughter. Hiruzen knew that Hayashi loved his eldest daughter, but Hiruzen also knew that the Hyuga were strict trainers and demanded a lot from their children, especially their heirs. It had been the same case with Hiruzen and his father, Sarutobi Sasuke. One can only hope Anko can help the girl. The woman had done wonders with Naruto, but Hinata was a slightly different case. Hokage-sama, Naruto-kun is here to see you, he heard Mariko's voice over the intercom. Send him in, he told his secretary and watched as his surrogate grandson entered through the door. Hello, Naruto-kun. Arf. The man laughed. Hello to you too, Hadamaru. The man chuckled as the small pup puffed out his chest. What can I do for you? Gigi, I've done it, Naruto declared with a grin. Done what, Naruto-kun? The man smiled at the boy's exuberance. I've mastered basic calligraphy. So now I can learn Fuinjutsu. The boy was giddy at the prospect of learning a new skill. Really? Show me. As the boy took out a brush and inkwell, Hiruzen was pleasantly surprised that the boy's calligraphy had indeed gotten much better than what it used to be. It wasn't the greatest in the world, but it was good enough that Naruto would be able to properly make basic Fuinjutsu without any consequences. The man had made a promise with the boy after all. Very well, Naruto. You can learn how to make seals. Yada! The boy cheered but calmed down when he remembered what he wanted to ask the old man. Hey, Gigi, do you know why one of my perks says I get a bonus towards Fuinjutsu? He asked. The man stayed silent as he heard those words and wondered how he should approach this. When Naruto had become the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi and an orphan, Hiruzen and the few he could trust took away and hid anything related to the Uzumaki clan or edited the information in order to protect the boy and should he ever go looking for information on them. It was made easier when those who knew about them were mostly the older generation such as Hiruzen and his old friend Mariboshi Kosuke. The thought made him sad though. Few from his generation remained now, they either ended up dying of old age or in combat. Few also knew that Kushina and Minato were married, only appearing in public together, and giving off them impression that they were merely friends. Both had agreed to keep the relationship between them a secret until they became strong enough, albeit it took some convincing on Kushina's part for her to go along with it. When the war finally ended, Minato and Kushina were prepared to come out as a couple. Both had become powerful, especially Minato, who was to become Hokage. But when Kushina turned out to be pregnant with Naruto, the plans changed once more. Being with child meant she was vulnerable, and wouldn't be able to train or take missions for risk of losing the baby. Coming out as a couple, one that was expecting as well, was basically putting a target sign on them, and Minato couldn't be everywhere at the same time. Despite the Hiraishin appearing absolute, Hiruzen knew that Tobirama and others had come up with ways at rendering it useless. While few knew of them or could even use them, the couple didn't wish to take the risk. When Kushina appeared visibly pregnant, and was asked who the father whose the woman would merely say it was someone precious to her who died in the war. Many often stopped afterwards and give their condolences before moving on. It nearly drove Kushina mad from having to say it so often. Her mood swings didn't make the task easy, too. While he knew Naruto wanted to know the truth about his lineage, for so long the Hokage realized, the man couldn't afford to tell him just yet. The boy had made excellent progress, but still wasn't strong enough. I'm afraid I don't know, Naruto. The man's lie and countless years of practice made the act very believable and convincing. Hiruzen had made a promise long ago that he would tell Naruto everything once he was promoted to Chunin. The boy had a right to know, but now wasn't the time. Oh, Naruto looked momentarily disappointed before shaking it off. It's okay. But I can still learn Fuinjutsu, right? Hijuin mere chuckled. Yes, Naruto-kun. Quest completed. Calligraphy 101. Main quest. Learn and master the skill Basic Calligraphy. Accomplished. Total rewards, plus 500 REP with Saratobi Hiruzen, plus 1100 EXP. Unlock Fuinjutsu skill. Beginner's Fuinjutsu recipe scroll. Congratulations. You've unlocked the skill Basic Fuinjutsu. Naruto grinned upon seeing the floating text box while Hiruzen reached into his desk and took out an old scroll. This is the very same scroll I used when I learned about the fundamentals of Fuinjutsu. You know Fuinjutsu, Gigi? The boy asked, gladly taking the scroll from the man. I'm known as the professor for a reason, Naruto, he smirked. I'm not a master in the art of using it, but I know enough about the theory to get by quite easily. The scroll you hold was given to me by my late master's wife, Senju Mito. She was easily the foremost expert and master on the subject. The woman was Konoha's own resident Grand Master level Fuinjutsu user. The highest rank anyone can reach in any art form. Few in Konoha have ever even come close to that level of proficiency, especially when it came to Fuinjutsu. How come? Naruto asked. A combination of lack of interest in teachers, really, was the man's reply. Many prefer to use the more common aspects of ninja skills such as taijutsu and ninjutsu, and to a lesser extent, genjutsu and bukijutsu. As I told you a few weeks ago, Fuinjutsu is also a very difficult art to learn and it's not for everyone. I can count the amount of experts or masters in the art on my hand. Yeesh, Naruto didn't know it was that bad. The boy knew that if he was to increase his skill, Fuinjutsu scrolls wasn't going to be enough. Even with his ability to absorb the knowledge, at some point he'd need a master in the art. Do you know anyone who is? The man thought for a second before answering. I'm an expert so I could teach you a bit. However, my busy schedule prevents me from doing so. Other than myself there's Shimura Danzo, but I wouldn't recommend him. Anko said the same thing about him about futon ninjutsu. Naruto idly wondered what was wrong with the man if both Hiruzen and Anko didn't recommend him as a teacher. Make no mistake, Danzo is one of the most, if not the most powerful futon ninjutsu user Konoha, and Fuinjutsu expert despite being the same age as I am. However, his teaching methods are very controversial and heavily frowned upon. Hiruzen was putting it lightly. The man's style of instructing others were inhumane even among shinobi standards. The only other person I could think of is my old student Jiraiya. He's a master in Fuinjutsu, but he's no longer in Konoha and travels around all over the place. While the name sounded familiar to him, Naruto let the thought slid. If the man wasn't here, then he wouldn't be of much help to him. Thanks anyway, Gigi. Have fun with the paperwork. Hiruzen's eye merely twitched at the response, "Why, you little?" But it was replaced by horror when Noriko came in with a large stack of papers. Some last-minute paperwork, Hokage-sama. The god of ninja felt like crying. Against paperwork there's no true victory, only temporary reprieves before it respawned in even greater numbers. Damn you, Minato! Meanwhile, while Hiruzen was lamenting his current situation, Naruto and Hadamara snuck into a solitary back alley. Naruto didn't wish for people to see what he was about to do. Would you like to learn basic Fuinjutsu recipes? Yes/no. The boy eagerly pressed on the yes and watched as the scroll evaporated into small particles of light, and knowledge he didn't know flood his mind. You learned the skill basic storage containment seal. You learned how to make low-grade exploding seal. You learned the skill trap seal, exploding earth immolation. You learned the skill trap seal, skyward current. You learned the skill sealing technique, for limbs weighting seal. You learned the skill Keifu no Jutsu, unsealing technique. Naruto grinned at the number of Fuinjutsu skills he learned. But the boy would look at them in greater detail later. Right now Naruto hurried onwards towards the training field Hate mentioned the other day. The man was finally going to teach him a kenjutsu skill, and Naruto knew it was awesome. Wonder what he's gonna teach me, Hado? The boy got a bark from his Niken in response before continuing their jog. Better be something cool. As he arrived at the training, Naruto was surprised to see not only Hate, but Anko as well, and wearing a vest. Hey, what's going on? Naruto asked the two senior ninja. Nothing much, Gaki. Just telling the ballerina here that because of my recent promotion I'm being given more duties. And unfortunately, Gaki, it means you can't train me as often, Naruto finished. Congratulations, Anko-sensei. Thanks and sorry, Gaki. I'd like to torture you some more. Both males knew the woman wouldn't bother correcting herself, she meant it, but this vest comes with new and more responsibilities. I'll still teach you, but Hate's more or less gonna spend more time with you. I get it. Naruto didn't like it, but he understood. But that doesn't start till tomorrow, so for now I'm gonna do the most I can starting now, she cackled and cracked her knuckles. Shit, a fearful Naruto gulped and watched as Hadamara run for his life, a green serpent hot on his tail. Can I learn the sword skill first though, please? Anko merely looked impassive. Naruto didn't know if it was good or not, but the woman released a sigh. Yeah, go ahead. I'm in a good mood today. But don't expect me to be this generous next time. The boy merely nodded and looked at his other instructor. So what's the sword technique you gonna teach me? Well, it's not a sword technique, but it plays a critical part of the fighting style I'm teaching you nonetheless, Hate informed the boy. While slightly down, the boy couldn't help ask, what is it then? Rather than tell him, Hate tossed the boy a bakken and instructed him to strike at him as fast as he could. Naruto didn't know why but obliged with the man's request. Naruto was fast for his age, very fast, and while Anko and Hate were impressed, it was still slow compared to them. When Naruto was upon his sword instructor, the boy slashed the bakken through Hate only for the man to phase out like a mist. Bunshin? No, it had a shadow. A bunshin doesn't leave one, the boy noted and felt a kunai at his throat. That kid was the Zanzo no Jutsu, after-image technique. The newest technique you'll be learning. Hate then smirked. However, training can wait. Anko said she wanted to have some fun with you after all. Eep, Naruto paled and started sweating when he saw the look on Anko's face. These guys are both sadists. While he was happy to finally train with Anko again, and learning a new useful technique, Naruto sorely missed the lack of torture he got from the woman. She had been gone for quite a while and was now making up for lost time. Chapter 14. For every action there's a reaction, Part 1. Okay, kid, that's a wrap, Hate informed his student. A sheet of perspiration was visible on the swordsman's pale face thanks to the light of the moon that illuminated the night from above. Get some rest and meet us here on Sunday in the afternoon, he informed and flickered out of the training field. Hopefully by then he and Yugao would have the blonde's problem solved. Both had minor duties to perform tomorrow, so it would have wait until then. During the dark twilight hours of the day, many shinobi looked upon Naruto and Hadamaru with pity. For the last 2 months or so both males looked ragged and worn down every time Konoha shinobi saw the two. And justifiably so as well, barely enough strength to even get home. Naruto huffed, his breath clearly visible in the air because it was now the month of December. As he limped onwards to his apartment, his equally bushed Niken followed after him. Arf. Hadamaru concurred with his partner, his paws and body aching like mad and felt ready to give out at any second. The little Niken wore his armor, and his coat now fluffier because of the colder weather. Naruto himself wore his training armor combined with a winter cloak. The boy made a mental note to replace the basic gear he had with a better one in the near future, as he passed by a shinobi gear shop near his apartment. Fortunately, the building where the blonde and tiger-stripped Niken lived was merely around the corner. But to the males it felt as though it was a country away. The journey up the stairs proved to be just as brutal as well. In their minds it was as if they were climbing up a mountain with pure muscle strength alone rather than relying on their chakra. As they finally arrived at their destination, both groaned as they entered the room and plopped down onto the comfortable bed. The boy's entire body ached and was racked with pain from today's training session. Today had been pretty intense, much like the previous ones he had gone through, and with good reason as well. Graduation was this coming Monday, a mere 2 days away. Naruto barely had time or the energy to enter dungeons thanks to the new training schedule. He still went in, but not as often as he would have liked to. Both Hate and Yugao, and Anko when she had the time, were pushing him to his limits at the moment in order to prepare him for what was to come. But Naruto was worried. Even after spending most of his attribute points on WIS and mastering the basic water surface walking practice, he still wasn't able to use or learn the Bunshin no Jutsu. While he had informed Hate and Yugao about his dilemma, both had wished that Naruto had come to them sooner with this problem. At the moment time was running short, very short for the boy. While both felt that the Bunshin was useless, tricking only the highly stupid and dim-witted, the fact that it was mandatory in order to pass the academy was ridiculous in their minds. After graduation came missions and the Bunshin was rendered virtually useless. Both because Genin could only take D rank and the occasional C rank mission, and the skill would be of no use helping them. It still worked against common bandits, but the more organized and experienced ones were better informed on shinobi and weren't quite as gullible or fooled at all. Hopefully, I can pull something off. Naruto continued to huff but only heard the sounds of light snoring from his partner. The boy chuckled at that. Yeah, sleep sounds. The boy couldn't finish as his exhaustion finally took hold and the boy promptly fell asleep, activating the traps he set up before he fell into a deep slumber. Elsewhere, finally, Hiruzen sighed as he finished the last of today's paperwork. With this year's block of academy students graduating but a mere couple of days away, the amount had been increasing. The man took the opportunity to look over Konoha. The rooftops were covered in decent coat of glittering white. While the country of Hai no Kuni didn't get as much snow compared to Kumo, Mizu, or some of the other lesser countries, they still had the occasional winter where they received a decent blanket of snow. Hiruzen treasured rare moments such as these. The man recalled his first snowfall in Konoha as a young boy. A moment that he shared with his teammates and teachers. The group had been training almost all day when the weather had gradually shifted from cool to cold, followed by the falling of snowflakes from above. The group had later spent the rest of the day merely playing and enjoying the change in scenery. The man chuckled as he recalled how both Tobirama and Hashirama managed to take a friendly snowball fight and somehow transformed it into an epic battle. The man remembered how the two most powerful men in Konoha received a scolding from Mito, and cowered before the intimidating woman as though they were mere children. Hiruzen only regretted not having a camera to picture the event. To relive such a moment such as that one last time, even if it was only once, the god of shinobi wished to spend one last moment with his departed teachers and loved ones. But the man shook such thoughts from his mind. It wouldn't do well to dwell on the past and cloud one's thoughts with such things. While it was good to dream, sometimes they could become a burden and hamper a person. Well, the man began tidying up a bit before he headed on home. Hokage-sama, Mariko's voice rang from the intercom, and Hiruzen held back a curse at the rotten timing. Reluctantly, Hiruzen answered his secretary, "Yes, Mariko-chan?" The man silently praying it wouldn't take too long. "Yuzuki Yugao and Gekko Hade are here to see you, sir." The mention of Naruto's sword instructors wanting to see him piqued the man's interest. "Send them in and then you can go home, Mariko-chan," the man instructed. "Thank you, Hokage-sama," Mariko replied before the machine went cold. Both swordsmen and swordswomen entered Hiruzen's office as the man sat back into his chair. "Yugao Hate, what can I do for you?" The man had an inkling and hunch that this was going to be about Naruto, but it didn't hurt to ask. "Sorry to keep you, Hokage-sama." Both bowed at their village leader, "but it's a little urgent." At the word urgent, the elderly but powerful man's composure shifted from relaxed to rigid and worried. "Has something happened? Is Naruto alright?" Seeing the look of worry and hearing it in his voice, Hate reassured his leader, "Naruto's fine, Hokage-sama. Cough, the kid's coming along quite well actually. Damn kid's a sponge. When it comes to the physical portion at least," he added, and Yugao released a chuckle while Hiruzen released a sigh of relief. "It's actually about his special condition and what it impedes him to do." The man now understood perfectly. "You're referring to Naruto's large amount of chakra." That's putting it lightly, Yugao thought. The Umbu member was a talented censor, and could tell that Naruto easily had the largest pool of chakra out of all the genin in the academy. Hell, the woman knew that the boy had even more chakra reserves than most jounin as well. Certainly not as strong such as Kakashi's average, but dense reserves, or immense and powerful like the Hokage's, but the blonde Jinchuriki had tons of chakra to spare nonetheless. The amount of chakra that kid has is allowing him to do things most chunin can't do, let alone what an academy student or genin can do, Hiruzen mentally snorted. Neither shinobi before him had any idea of what the boy was truly capable of. But it's also taking away his ability to make a proper clone. The kid's mastered the water surface walking practice, but it still isn't enough. Graduation is but a few days away, and without it Naruto will fail despite everything he has accomplished. Hiruzen frowned. The man couldn't exactly exempt Naruto for such a thing. It wouldn't be fair to the other students who couldn't do it either. The man had gotten a ton of complaints from others for giving the boy a private tutor, and while he had paid for it out of his own pocket, it still didn't placate the others. Short of Naruto having a physical impairment, such as Rock Lee, who was exempted from the ninjutsu portion of the exam, or it being wartime where it could sometimes be overlooked, there was little he could do without the council stepping in. Hiruzen was the Hokage and had absolute power in Konoha. His words were law. But it wasn't as easy as it sounded. Tobirama had placed laws that had long ago been put in place to prevent a Hokage from abusing their authority over the village. An example was a Hokage candidate needing the support and backing of the village council, head jounin, Umbu commander and fire daimyo council should a former Hokage die before appointing a successor. Another was using his authority to give someone such as family or family friends an advantage over others. While it wasn't the intent, it could easily be seen as such by others. Hiruzen recalled certain daimyos and village leaders from the minor countries giving family and friends benefits such as more authority or leeway in certain matters. In some cases it led to a civil war or almost escalate into being one. Hiruzen seriously doubted it would go that far, but knew that many who were clouded by hate would do almost anything. Unfortunately, there is little I can do at the moment. While many weren't thrilled about Naruto being given a tutor, the boy was still dead last, and many more saw my actions as simply helping a struggling student. Anko's contract ended and is now teaching the boy because she, along with yourselves, wants to teach him, so I can't be blamed for that. But now that Naruto has improved to a decent level, any more help I give him will simply be seen as me abusing my authority. Yugao frowned at the man's words. Despite being a ninja, the woman had a particular dislike of politics, and the endless web of deceit therein. Many had often said that the pen was mightier than the sword, and it was true. With a single signature, a country decree, law or regulation could impede one, make others suffer for little to no reason, or start a rebellion. So if Naruto can't be exempt from the Bunshin portion of the exam, what can we do? Hiruzen sighed. The woman had just asked the million-ryo question. Next day, 9:17 a.m., Naruto groaned as he stretched in his bed. Man, gotta love that gamer's body ability. Waking up all refreshed with all of his HP and CP restored was the best. Anko often complained in private as it took normal individuals a hell of a lot more time to regain their strength and chakra instead of a single night's sleep. Oh well. Sucks to be them. Hado, Naruto grinned at his waking Niken. Arf. Hadamaru barked and agreed with the boy. As they went about their morning ritual, Naruto contemplated on what they were going to do today. Okay, going to the training area dungeons is out. He was barely getting anything good from them at the moment thanks to his high level. He couldn't enter the higher dungeons either, seeing as how he needed to be a genin to enter them. Naruto hoped the enemies and loot he'd get from them would make it up for it. Speaking of which, Naruto made his way towards his laptop. The last dungeon he had entered was filled with centipedes. While the drops they gave were mostly poison-based like the rats, Naruto collected them anyways, if only to sell them. At first they were nothing he couldn't handle despite their large number. Then came along the giant variants. While the dungeons still remained relatively easy, these centipedes posed a greater challenge as they had a hard shell and spat corrosive acid. The shell was very resilient to bladed weaponry, and only their soft underbelly wasn't immune. But the centipedes were very quick to burrow and perform hit and run tactics in greater number. So Naruto ended up having to use his staff for most of the dungeon to crush their heads in. Unfortunately, the staff's life came to an end during the boss battle with the freaking Omukade, the human centipede demon. The last blow Naruto managed to get on the creature not only ended the boss's life but that of the staff's as well, and it was sadly beyond repair. Damn shame, the staff had been given to him by the old man, and was his first real weapon. Asking to replace it with another clan staff felt wrong to him. The boy would find a new blunt weapon in the future. And all I got for it was something I couldn't use called Futten, Neijikito no Jutsu, Boil Release, Deadly Upheaval Technique. As the scroll required one to have the ability to use Boil Release, neither he nor Anko could use the technique. In the end, Naruto ended putting the scroll along with majority of the poison he got up for auction a few days ago. Alright, any bites? Your item Futten, Neijikito no Jutsu has been bought by Sexy Water Goddess. Kinda unoriginal for a screen name, but money is money, Naruto smirked as he saw the numbers. Because it had been one of the few bloodline limit techniques recorded on a scroll, despite it not being one of the most powerful, Naruto had been advised to sell it for 350,000 ryo. In the end, he made a profit of 297,500 when the auction house took their cut. Still no bites for the poison. There were views he could see, but no one was interested in buying any at the moment. He shrugged. It was only a few days since he put it on the site, and Naruto had managed to sell the most valuable item anyway. Let's see then. Instant dungeon list. Naruto watched a screen of all the available dungeons appear before him. Zombie World Dungeon, Ghost World Dungeon, Primordial World Dungeon. Level can be set. Naruto shivered as he thought about the Ghost World Dungeon. The boy had always been afraid of ghosts and regretted entering the dungeon. Not only were they immune to physical attacks, meaning taijutsu and bukijutsu was useless against them, the only thing that did hurt them was ninjutsu and genjutsu for some reason. While this wouldn't have been a problem, the ghosts had an ability that quickly drained him of his CP and HP. It was only made worse as his detect skill didn't work on them, so they would pop up at random and latch on to him. In the end, Naruto left that dungeon alone and merely focused on the zombie-filled one. Primordial World Dungeon, huh? What the hell, I ain't got anything to lose. Naruto decided to give it a shot. Brat, quit talking to yourself in there, Naruto's landlord yelled. Cranky old fart, the boy muttered. I heard that. Oh, for the love of Naruto stopped, and began packing the things he'd need. From his frequent visits to the zombie dungeon, he had gotten a great deal of lesser-grade potions, and 2 medium-grade ones thanks to his Grand Master Zombie Slayer title. This meant worrying about HP restoring items was no longer an issue. Oh, that reminds me, I need to learn some new recipes from my cooking skill. Not really getting a lot of EXP with the current ones, Naruto loved the food he was now able to make with his intermediate cooking skill. Not only did they taste better, but they also restored more HP and CP and gave him a temporary perk. However, the recipes were now giving him little EXP at the moment, and Naruto was forced to find some of his own. I'll worry about that later, he muttered lowly before adjusting the dungeon level a bit. Okay, 5 to 7 levels higher should be enough at the moment, he thought before using his instant dungeon creation skill. Hopefully this place is better than the ghost dungeon. Sometime later, I don't want to die, Naruto screamed at the top of his lungs. The boy was running away from the predators behind him that were hot on his heels. All he knew about the creatures was they were called raptors. They were slightly taller than himself but also vicious, fast, stealthy, and had a powerful sense of smell. Worst of all, they were highly intelligent, too, compared to the other dungeon's inhabitants he faced. Naruto was fast, but these things had 5 levels on him, the alpha had 7, and their powerful legs enabled them to run at frightening speeds. Ksha! The leader of the pack hissed/screeched at him. Its fangs were bloody from a recent kill they were eating when Naruto accidentally stumbled on them. However, it seemed their meal wasn't overly satisfying as they wanted seconds. Nice raptor! Good raptor! Naruto was only met with more hissing and was forced to dive when the alpha pounced on him. Right where he wanted it. Sucker! Naruto grinned as his trap seal, Skyward Current, activated and sent the alpha flying upwards a good 25 feet into the air. The blonde took the chance to jump after the helpless creature and used his ninpo, Gariki, to increase his strength. Satsuyo Toshi, double hammer drop. Naruto delivered a vicious 2-handed hammer strike on the creature's back with his fists. The incredible force along with his increased STR from his techniques sent the creature crashing back down to the primordial earth. The boy quickly followed up with his newest technique, Futon, Darapusho, Wind Release, Great Gale Palm, to quickly send himself back towards his foe. The Futon technique was basically an enhanced version of the regular Rapusho no Jutsu, but the torrent of much more powerful winds that sent him downwards was doing its job and he was soon on the creature. Banrai, Heavy Thunder! The boy's punch struck the creature on the head. The creature's eyes nearly bulging out comically as it was sent face first back onto the ground. While he was dealing with the alpha, Hadamaro was taking care of the underlings in his transformed older form. The large canine could now last longer in this form thanks to more practice and larger chakra reserves. His ability to drain chakra from others thanks to his Ravenous Sin technique made it even more convenient to recover lost chakra. Bark! Hadamaro roared as he swiped at the nearest raptor. The beast's newfound strength sent the creature crashing into a tree with a resounding thud. Hadamaro then moved on to the other raptors and performed a Daitsuga, Great Overfang, on them. While not as powerful as the Gutsuga, the enhanced singular version of the Tsuga had more power and spin in it to hurt the 2 ancient predators. While one managed to recover, the other went down and Hadamaro took the opportunity to clamp down on its neck. With the dogs and large canines and flaming maw, the raptor screeched in pain and fright as it tried to escape from the jaws of literal death. Its struggles ultimately proved futile as Hadamaro's greater size and strength prevented all means of escape. Adding more pressure and force to his bite, Hadamaro performed a sudden jerk with his head and the creature in his mouth knew no more. Hadamaro then snarled at the other raptors in front of him that were hoping to avenge their fallen pack member. With their attention so firmly placed on the one that took away their comrade, either had time to react when they suddenly found themselves set ablaze by the fireballs that struck their exposed backs. While the 2 creatures panicked over their burning bodies, Hadamaro moved in for the kill and promptly finished both of them off. Nice job, Hado, Naruto smiled at now diminutive partner. It wasn't exactly how he wanted the plan to go down, but it worked out well in the end. Okay, let's see what we got here. So far the common drops Naruto and Hadamaro were getting from the creatures of this world, called dinosaurs, were mostly fertile dung, very thick hides, and dinosaur meat. The last one apparently was supposed to be very high in protein and nutrition. Think we'll find a treasure chest here, Hato? Naruto asked his partner, only to see the dog munching on a piece of dino meat. Hey! Spit that out! Naruto ordered the dog. While he could eat it raw, Naruto didn't want Hadamara getting any parasites or sick from eating uncooked meat. Kinda think of it. Do meat drops even have parasites in them? He wondered if his gamer ability eliminated such harmful things. Grr, Hadamara growled. Originally Naruto thought the Nikken was angry at him for taking away his food, but as he felt the earth shake, the boy readied himself. Unlike the other dungeons that only had a certain species such as rats and greater variants, this dungeon had a multitude of different dinosaur species instead of just carnivorous ones. Great, the three-horned one, Naruto frowned. Alpha Triceratops LV 25 HP, 3500/3500 CP, 400/400 STR, 145 VIT, 100 DX, 100 INT, 16 WIS, 5 LEK, 29 defense, 135 perks, hard-headed, plus 50% concussive resistance, plus 50% headshot resistance, plus 50% head damage techniques. Tenacious, ignores negative status effects when health drops below 30%, movement speed increases by 70% when below 30% health. Territorial, plus 50% effectiveness to detection skill, will attack any who enters its territory and is seen as a threat. Thick hide, plus 50% weapon, taijutsu resistance, plus 35% abnormal status effects resistance, plus 50 defense, plus 1000 HP. Description: despite its size and being a plant eater, this large creature is fiercely territorial and aggressive if felt threatened. When this happens, their natural instinct is to charge their opponent, thereby making best use of their horns to gore and skewer the opposition. It has 3 horns in its head that are used to ward off potential predators and have been known to kill even super predators, and its neck is protected by a bony crest that allows it to feel little to no pain when smashing into something. They are typically found in small herds of up to 8 creatures, but it is not uncommon to find one by itself, usually a scout. A typical specimen is 30 feet long and on average weighs 20,000 pounds. This alpha, however, is much bigger and heavier. EXP earned, 495 drops. Dinosaur meat, fertile dung, very fertile dung, dense horn, very thick hide. I hate these guys. Either Naruto or Hadamara had a pleasant experience with these creatures. Triceratops gave good drops, but if Naruto or Hadamara didn't kill them fast enough, they'd summon an alpha Triceratops such as this one, which was worst. Once an alpha was summoned, it would not go away until either one of them were defeated, and vice versa. Groaning as he saw the creature prepare to charge them, Naruto knew that if he didn't deal with the creature, it would simply try to find him again. God damn it, Naruto cursed his luck. The boy really wished he had his staff to break those horns it sported. Charging head-on was a very bad idea, as it was capable of rotating its head very quickly despite its size and give him a quick stab in the gut. The boy had tried this out with his afterimage technique. Ninjutsu it is, Naruto spoke before jumping upwards onto a nearby tree. It would stay upright for long though, as their strength and speed allowed them to topple trees over as though they as fragile as flowers. Katan, Hozenka no Jutsu, Fire Release, Phoenix Age Fire Technique. Naruto shouted as he unleashed a series of fireballs upon the charging creature. Unlike Hidama, which flew only in a linear line, the Hozenka fireballs curved and could be manipulated towards their target to some degree. All 4 fireballs struck the beast's thick hide, but the creature didn't seem all that bothered by it, and continued its charge. Brag! The creature bellowed as it made contact with the trunk and uprooted the tree with a single blow. Damn! The boy took this time to jump behind the beast. Throwing a myriad of kunai laced with his own exploding tags at its back legs, Naruto held up a hand seal and watched the explosion that ensued. The mighty reptile roared in pain as its back legs flared with large amounts of agony, temporarily immobilizing the ancient creature. Bark! Was the sound of Naruto's Nikken as it jumped upon the creature and began raking and biting its back. Hadamara knew well enough not to go near the head, even with the creature weakened. The neck, legs and belly were its weak spots, but getting to them was both tricky and dangerous. The beast's weight and girth was enormous and too much for Naruto, even with his strength-enhancing technique. Not enough time to set up another trap seal. Naruto really wished he had time. The skyward current technique was a seal that stored a large amount of air inside it, compressed it, and sent any other than the user flying upwards. However, Naruto discovered that the technique was useless against something as heavy as this creature. The other trap seal, however, exploding earth immolation, basically stored fire chakra, exploded, and set any within a 5-foot radius on fire. Naruto didn't really use it as much as the other one. While it certainly had a hell of a lot more power behind it, a trade-off was that it required a lot more time to prepare as well. Plus, with Hato on its back, he'd risk hurting his partner. His Kenjutsu was out at the moment as well. Skilled as he was, Naruto hadn't had time to procure himself of a decent sword to make it more effective, mainly using Shikizuge and his Bakken. Most of the swords he wanted at Tetsu's were expensive, and Naruto was still saving up for his house. Which left only option, damn it, he cursed and prepared his Rasen Hon no Jutsu, spiraling phoenix flame technique. While the technique was much stronger and faster than what it used to be, Naruto hated having to rely on a particular technique to get himself out of trouble all the time. Oh, he loved the technique and all, but Anko had pounded into his head that a shinobi that relied too much on a technique, skill, or bloodline would eventually face a foe that knew how to counter it, and be left at their mercy. So far, Naruto had been forced to use it on the last 4 Triceratops to take them down. With the Alpha before him, it would soon to be 5. Hato! Naruto signaled his partner to jump off and unleashed a blazing hell upon the large reptile. The Alpha had no time to react when the technique pierced its hide and come out the other side. Much like the Legion zombie that was pierced by the technique, the dinosaur had a look of pure agony plastered on its face, right before it lit up and melted into a puddle of primordial goo. Your Rasen Hon no Jutsu skill has leveled up by 1. Sighing, Naruto picked up the loot and told Hato to follow him. Both now needed a break from all the fighting they'd been doing. The 17-level gamer had already spent less than half of his CP thanks to using his most powerful technique so often. Spotting a cave and using his detect skill, along with Hato's nose, Naruto was happy to see a lack of creatures inside it. Entering the cave, Naruto and Hatomaru enjoyed each other's company as they munched on some food. Both human and Niken had come a very long way in 4 months. Naruto was no longer dead last anymore, thank Kami, and in 2 short days the boy was set to graduate. Assuming Hate and Yugao come through, Naruto prayed that they did. Naruto had no intention of staying in the academy for 1 more year after all he accomplished. The boy had enough of the academy, thank you very much, and wanted more experience. The dungeons were good and all, but Naruto knew there were dungeons hidden around the world and other places that offered a better challenge. The blonde also wanted to experience his first mission outside of Konoha, and see what else was beyond the walls of the great hidden village. Naruto had always been an adventurist, and had often wanted what the world had to offer. It was easier said than done, however. Outside the walls, with the little amount of training he had, Naruto knew his younger, ignorant self wouldn't last very long. There were stronger, more powerful and twisted individuals outside Konoha who would easily take advantage of him. Under the tutelage of 3 gifted teachers, he had become stronger, smarter, and better prepared. But it still wasn't enough. Naruto needed to be stronger, and needed much more experience before he could undertake such a thing. What do you think, Hato? The Niken looked at him. Wanna see the world and travel a bit in the future? Arf. The Niken was down with that. Good boy, the blonde grinned at the young pup. When a solid 20 minutes passed and a decent amount of HP and CP recovered, Naruto decided it was high time that they get back to it. Alright, Hato, let's... Hato? Hey, where'd you go, buddy? Arf. Arf. Naruto turned around and spotted the Niken deeper in the cave, scratching at something on the wall. What is it, bud? He asked and spotted a slight glimmer coming from the rock face. Going back outside, Naruto quickly returned with a branch and set the piece of wood on fire with a hitama. The glimmer became even greater, and Naruto spotted a series of veins in the cavern. Or? He guessed and used his observe to see if he was right. Elementium, or epic quality. Description: Elementium is one of the rarest forms of natural chakra metal known in existence, and is the most superconductive of them. Elementium is commonly used to make weapons as it allows one to flow their chakra with no difficulties compared to regular chakra metal. Why this is has yet to be fully understood, but it has been noted that any weapon made from this metal can potentially become one of the deadliest of weapons, especially when amplifying one's nature affinity. However, despite its incredible rarity and usefulness, being lightweight and incredibly durable when tempered, removing impurities and tempering the metal into a desired form is extremely difficult. Few master weaponsmiths in existence are capable of accomplishing such a task, as so few are taught, or knowledge on how to accomplish this has been kept a secret or lost during the era of warring states. As he processed the information, Naruto's mind temporarily shut down as he realized what he had just found thanks to a stroke of luck. When his brain rebooted, the boy couldn't hold in his joy and literally began bouncing off the walls like mad. Fuck yeah! Naruto couldn't believe his luck at the incredible find. New awesome weapon, you will soon be mine. He grinned. The excited blonde didn't care that it might be a while before he found someone who could properly forge the rare metal or into a weapon of his choice. The fact that he found something so valuable, and most likely worth millions if regular chakra ore was anything to go by, was more than enough for him. Naruto hoped that Tetsu was skilled enough to do so, which would be even more awesome, but Naruto wasn't about to get his hopes up. However, Naruto realized one crucial thing. How am I gonna get it out? He wondered. Shit on a stick. Naruto was determined to get as much as the ore as he could and had no intention of leaving without it. Video games often had a random spawning time for such valuable treasure like this. Such treasures and items were similar to rare spawns. They offered unique valuables, but one didn't know when they'd reappear or where. Opening up his inventory box, Naruto rummaged through the items he had. Zombie bone, nope, too brittle. Corrosive centipede acid, maybe? Broken training staff, nope. My old lead pipe, that could work if I had something at the end. What a minute. Dense horn. The boy took on an inquisitive pose as he took out the two items. After a few minutes of tinkering with the items along with some common ones, Naruto was finished. You've created the item, makeshift pickaxe. Makeshift pickaxe. Poor quality piercing weapon, durability 13/20. Description. A pickaxe made from a discarded lead pipe and a very dense animal horn. Not the greatest item to use to excavate or minerals from cavern walls, but it will get the job done nonetheless. Attack power, 8 to 11. A special skill has been created through a special act. By combining and tinkering two objects into creating something else, you've gained the passive/active skill crafting. Crafting. LV1. Next LV0/75. A skill that allows the user to make something from other objects. Humanity has advanced their civilization through inventing things. Crafted objects become better as mastery levels rises. While creating makeshift items will have a low chance of working, finding schematics/blueprints on items will offer a greater success rate when attempting to make them. Success on an item's creation is also depending on the user's WIS level, and sometimes DX, as it affects how deft your hand skills are when making more delicate creations. Asterisk chance to fail when crafting 50%. Asterisk crafting speed increased by 5%. Okay, been a while since that happened. He'd admit that it was a rather useful skill to have. Naruto made a note to keep an eye out for useful blueprints in the future. Pushing that thought aside for now, Naruto activated his ninpo, Gariki, and felt a surge of strength course through him as he began striking at the cavern wall. Elsewhere, the plan's not going to work. Mizuki, the shadowed figure, shook their head at the arrogant man's idiocy. How he was promoted to Chunin and why their master had him be a part of his plans was beyond the informant. It will work, Mizuki scowled at the informant. Mizuki knew little about him or her, as the informant was very secretive. Mizuki didn't even know if the informant was male or female, just that he or she would appear randomly for an update or to inform him on what needed to be done. The demon won't graduate. His skills may have gotten better, has gotten better. The informant corrected the man, authority washing over the traitorous Konoha ninja like a strong gale in a valley. Unlike the Chunin before him, the informant didn't let their emotions cloud their judgment. Blamed the snake bitch and her friends for that, the man snarled at the thought of Anko. Nowhere in a million years did he think the cold-hearted or uncaring woman would take a liking to the demon and start training it. Hell, blame the fucking Hokage too. The cloaked figure had to concede, slightly, to Mizuki's point. Anko was as much of an outcast as much as Naruto. Not nearly as bad, but guessed it was enough to sympathize with the boy despite how distant she usually was. Having Mizuki interfere in the training would arouse suspicion, and the man was no fool to mess with the Hokage's orders or Anko herself. At any rate, your job was to weaken and impede the growth of the academy graduates as much as you could without getting caught. You've done a decent job so far with the others, but now he's in the middle ranking of the new graduation batch, and the Hokage suspects a traitor within the academy. My cover's blown. A look of horror appeared on the man's face. I said suspect, you idiot. The Hokage doesn't know who yet, but it's only a matter of time before we're found out. Orochimaru-sama is not pleased, Mizuki. The Konoha traitor paled, and for a brief second he felt his heart stopped as he heard those words. The informant knew about it. Years ago Mizuki had met the rogue ninja Orochimaru on a mission. More accurately, Orochimaru had witnessed Mizuki killing his teammates from impeding a mission's success and for suspecting Mizuki of underhand deals with Konoha enemies. Rather than kill him, Orochimaru made the man an offer to work for him instead and become his eyes and ears at the academy along with a few other things. Mizuki had grown distant from the village and sought to make himself powerful. Orochimaru had promised a man incredible power few possessed, and Mizuki wholeheartedly agreed. Not that he was in any position anyway to refute the powerful ninja. The informant didn't doubt that Mizuki wouldn't be standing in front of them had the man said no. Orochimaru didn't like leaving any loose ends. Then what do you suggest I do? Mizuki asked. The plan can still go off without a hitch. The demon still can't make a proper bunshin, and without that his chances of becoming a ninja sinks, Mizuki smirked. And what are your plans on the off chance he does pass? The informant asked him. Mizuki frowned. Then I'll get some other scapegoat. As much as he liked it to be the demon, Mizuki knew he'd be forced to improvise should it occur. Not everyone passes, and you have no idea what some fuck-ups are willing to do to become ninja. I'll even frame the demon and make Konoha focus their attention on him, while I make a break for it. Just make sure you take care of the ANBU. Mizuki suddenly felt a cold, tight grip around his throat. Don't assume you can order me around, you pathetic excuse of a ninja. The informant snarled at the man and tightened their grip on his throat. I give the orders around here. Not you. Do so again and you'll breath your last. And with that the individual harshly tossed the man to the ground with a resounding thud. The strength and force behind the throw as his body crashed on the hard soil racked his body with pain. The informant released a cruel laugh as they saw Mizuki gasp for air as he tried to right himself. Do not fail us, Mizuki. You wouldn't like to see what Orochimaru-sama does to traitors or those who fail him. The man is truly an artist at prolonging the suffering of others, and that's if they're lucky. The giddiness in the informant's voice gave the man the distinct impression they wanted to see him fail just so that they could witness him suffer. I won't fail. The traitor's voice was hoarse to the person's actions. I'll get it done. See that you do, they said and tossed him a vial. Drink that vial should you find yourself in bind, and only when you find yourself in a bind. I still have some things to do before we leave. What is it? Poison? Most ninja committed suicide to being captured and interrogated. No. Think of it as a form of liquid courage, was all he or she said. The man blinked and the informant was no longer before him. Mizuki could not hold back a scowl from etching itself onto his visage as it finally set in that his plans were falling apart. It had been so simple when he planned it all. The demon fails, he shows some sympathy and earns his trust, gives the demon a chance to become a ninja by stealing the scroll of seals. Afterwards he was to try and learn a technique to occupy him long enough for Mizuki to sneak up on him, end his life, get rid of the body, and then be on his merry way. All of that had been shot to hell, and now he needed to improvise before the graduation exam began in case the demon passed. Deciding to deal with it later, Mizuki swiftly pocketed the vial and left to go about his daily life. The man had a few loose ends of his own he needed to take care of as well. Might as well get a few fucks out of Tsubaki before I leave. The man smirked at the thought of his beloved fiancée. Tsubaki was the only other person who knew about his affiliation with Orochimaru. Not everything, but enough to have him locked up in the Konoha strict correctional facility for the remainder of his life. But her love for him and her own dislike of the demon stopped her from reporting him to the village. The only upside of the demon getting stronger was that it allowed Mizuki to convince the woman that it was manipulating the Hokage to return to its former self. Showing her the result of his scores and embellishing a few things about the tourney only added fuel to the fire. As it was, the woman was more or less firmly on his side. Maybe I can convince her to come with me, he mused as, despite his lust for power and hate for the demon outweighing his love for Tsubaki, Mizuki still had a lingering soft spot for the woman. If nothing else, he'd find some way to use her as a scapegoat for everything that was about to happen should it go sideways. If everything went well instead, he'd get more power and have a beautiful lover by his side. With Naruto, Naruto huffed as he pocketed the latest piece chunk of the elementium. The entire process of mining the ore had taken him close to an hour. Even with his strength increased by his technique, the rock face and the ore were incredibly durable compared to the other dungeons. Trying to pierce through it had not been an easy task, to say the least, and Naruto was forced to make another makeshift pickaxe with what little possible items he had when the first one finally broke. "That's all we can get, Hado," Naruto told his partner. Naruto had managed to gather 8 decent-sized lumps of the ore before his latest tool finally broke. Looking at the wall, Naruto decided his idea was worth a shot. Cocking his fist back, Naruto struck out at the rock face with all his might in the hopes of getting some more of the precious metal. And then the pain set in. "Yo!" Naruto yelled as he nursed his hand. The appendage already began to swell and turn purple because of the idiotic attempt. The boy glared as he saw Hadamaru rolling on the floor, laughing at his expense and pain. "Ungrateful mutt," he winced as his hand flared up. "Man, that was dumb," he commented. "Your lack of tact resulted in giving yourself the status effect fractured limb, a loss of 500 HP, -1 WIS. Seek out medical attention to heal faster or wait 48 hours for it to fully heal." Fuck, Naruto cursed as he read the status effect. Fractured limb basically reduced all physical aspects such as taijutsu, bukijutsu, DX, and STR by 30% until he recovered. The boy was mentally kicking himself as he realized he needed to seek medical attention. Browsing his inventory box, Naruto cursed even more when he realized he didn't have any healing items that could take care of it. "Looks like we're cutting it short, Hado," a disappointed and angry Naruto informed his partner. The boy would have loved to fight some more and encounter the boss as well as a few other things, but with his speed and physical strength reduced, they were at great risk. The creatures were 5 to 7 levels higher than him, and the boss was going to be much more powerful. While it didn't affect his ninjutsu, Naruto couldn't rely solely on his elemental arsenal alone. The creatures were very fast and tough, and the only technique he really had that affected the tough ones was also the most draining and took too long to use. Naruto wasn't one to give up and didn't really believe in no-win scenarios, but Anko pounded into his head that there would be times when he needed to pull off a tactical retreat and fight another day. She admired his mentality to not give up and push forwards through obstacles, but at times one needed to come to terms with the reality of things during a hopeless situation. Ultimately it was up to him, and his choices would have good or negative outcomes. Instant dungeon escape. Naruto shouted, and both he and Hadamara found themselves back into his room. Putting away his ninja gear and sporting some casual clothing in its place, Naruto and Hadamara arrived and stood in front of the Konoha General Hospital. "Might as well get this looked at," Naruto winced and gulped. The blonde academy student had been to the hospital several times in his lifetime. Usually after trying to pull off certain acrobatic stunts that spectacularly backfired on him. The smell and feel of the hospital was not for him. "Ah, Uzumaki-san. Back again, I see." The boy froze as he heard the sadistic chuckle and felt a frigid chill go up his spine. "No," he squeaked, and despite his affliction the boy ran as fast as he could. "Dokuda Satapu, doctor, stop!" The woman shouted, and Naruto felt a prickling sensation in his back before his body suddenly seized up on him. Damn it! Naruto wanted to cry as he found himself yanked and dragged into the hospital by the woman known as the Meijo Dokuda, witch doctor. From Naruto's point of view, as well as many others, Kureha was a very unorthodox, being sadistic at times, an elderly individual who viewed herself as young, hence her epithet. However, Kureha's medical expertise in Konoha was second to none, saying the only two who ever outclassed the woman as one was her former medical teacher Senju Hashirama and his granddaughter. Many in the hospital, such as doctors, nurses, administrators as well as patients, could only pity the boy as the witch doctor brought him into a room and began examining him. Does it hurt when I do this?" she asked while prodding the injury. "Yo!" Naruto's scream frightened those nearby but gave Kureha all the information she needed as well. Looks like you fractured all the bones in your hand and severely bruised the muscle in it too," she diagnosed and moved her hand along the arm. "You also have a minor fracture in your radius and ulna. You did a swell job on your arm, brat." "What did you do? Punch a steel girder or something?" Naruto merely blushed with embarrassment, and Kureha shook her head. "Of all the dumb stunts you pulled, Uzumaki," she sighed and began pulling out several medical equipment from scalpels to hacksaws. Each new one the boy spotted made him pale ever further. "Ah, here we are," she grinned as she pulled out a needle. Naruto's screams died as the woman injected him with a mysterious liquid. "There, that should keep you from screaming like a little bitch," Kureha stated, neglecting to say that it would also help speed up the recovery process. Soon afterwards her hands began glowing a greenish color, and she went to work on the injury. It was relatively minor, but any injury that wasn't properly taken care of would either take longer to recover or potentially become worse or permanent if aggravated. Naruto stayed silent the entire time Kureha healed his arm. The boy remembered the first time she healed him when the old man had brought him in for the first time. During his first year, Naruto had tried to show off by completing a very advanced obstacle course meant for 5th year students and those in their final year. The result had been a broken arm, fractured leg, and busted lip. Hiruzen had personally taken him to see Kureha, saying she was a friend of his late wife, and the woman had gone off on a tangent about dumb brats doing things they shouldn't be doing. Naturally, Naruto mouthed off, and the boy soon regretted doing so when Kureha ended up drugging him up and was left at her mercy. She healed him, but Naruto had been forced to stay a while, left to eat nothing but hospital food and the smell of sanitization and other weird smells. There, that should do it. Kureha finished the healing process. "It will still take some to heal, but you're free to go, brat. No training or any form of strenuous exercise for 12 hours, get plenty of bed rest, and you'll need a temporary cast to make sure it heals properly." Naruto groaned. He was unable to do anything else, but stopped when Kureha gave him a pointed look. "Doctor's orders. Heaven and hell help you if you disobey me, he. She grinned maliciously and the woman's glasses flashed, scaring the injured shinobi in training. Some time later, Naruto and his partner were seen leaving the hospital with a cast on his injured limb. "How can this get any worse?" he groaned. "GKI, what the hell?" "Oh, fan-fucking-tastic," he cursed as worse just happened. "Hey, Anko-sensei. I come back early and I find you in a cast. What the hell happened?" Anko asked as she inspected his arm. The brat punched something he shouldn't have. All three turned around and spotted Kureha at the entrance, the woman drinking plum sake straight from the bottle. "Be sure to come back here at 3. By then your cast can be taken off." As Kureha headed back into the hospital, Anko shook her head. "Gaki, I should be surprised, but somehow I'm not." Anko sighed the boy's idiocy. "Hey, I had a good reason," Naruto began but stopped. "Oh yeah? Go on, finish. Tell me why I shouldn't beat your ass black and blue for doing something this stupid," she frowned at him. Giving her a look, Anko frowned but realized it had to do with his ability. Nodding at him, Anko grabbed Hadamara by the scruff of his neck and Naruto and performed a shunshin to vacate the area. All three soon found themselves outside his apartment complex before they made their way inside Naruto and Hadamara's home. "Alright, Gaki, spill," Anko ordered her ward. Rather than say anything, Naruto opened up his inventory box and grabbed a piece of his find and showed her the ore. "What's this?" she asked, having to admit she liked the way the light shone on the metal chunk. "Elementium," Naruto's answer caused Anko to nearly drop the rare and precious metal. The woman now realized she was currently holding one of the most valuable and wanted metals in the entire world. "But I didn't really have a pickaxe, so I kinda improvised." "By using your fist." The rookie Jonin had done her fair share of stupid things in her lifetime, but punching a wall of solid rock to get to some metal was something else. How the hell did you get this? Dungeon, was his answer. Smartass, Anko groused. Gaki, do you even know how much this thing is worth? No? He had a feeling she was about to tell him. Depending on the amount you managed to get, and the purity of it all, in the end you'd probably have enough money for 4, maybe 5 generations of your family to live a comfortable life. Now it was Naruto's turn to be shocked. How much did you get? Naruto pulled out 7 more lumps of the ore, and presented them to the woman. By now Anko had real bills for eyes as she eyed the raw metals. Okay, maybe not 5 generations but definitely 4. Mine, get your own, Naruto said as he put them away. Gonna turn this into a weapon anyway. Here Anko snorted. Good luck with that, Gaki. I'll tell you now that the amount of people capable of properly smelting this stuff I can count on one hand. Smelting and forging weapons and equipment out of regular chakra metal ore was already a difficult process. Doing the same to this sort of ore was 10 times more difficult. Shit, Naruto knew it would be a while before he got such a weapon then. In the meantime you are getting some sleep. Don't want you to fuck up any other part of your body before graduation, and you're scared of her too, aren't you? Naruto knew that while Anko was being too kind. Hey, can a teacher show some concern for her student when they get PFTTT? The woman couldn't continue and began to laugh. Oh boy, I couldn't say that and keep a straight face, Anko sighed. But yeah, the bitch scares the hell out of me and the last thing I want to do is piss her off. Both shivered. She's right though, you need rest, Gaki. Next time you feel like punch a wall with your fists, don't. Or at least let me be there to see it blow up in your face. Thanks for the tip, Naruto deadpanned before he headed off to bed. Hadamara followed after him but was suddenly grabbed by the woman. You're not going anywhere, Poochie. Last I saw you're fine, so Midori is gonna be training you till you drop. She grinned and Midori slithered out of Anko's trench coat. The poor pup whined pitifully and looked to his partner for help. I'd help you, Hado. But you take up too much of the bed at times and I need sleep. Have fun, he told them and closed the door. Leaving a wide-eyed and betrayed-looking Niken at the mercy of Anko and her loyal familiar. Now then. Let's see how much you've improved. Midori and Anko's chuckle had the Niken shaking. The proud Niken even felt ready to piss himself as they left the apartment to begin the torture. Arf? Next day, late in the evening. Come on. Are you still mad at me? A fully healed Naruto asked his sulking partner. Look, even if I wanted to help, what the hell was I supposed to do? Arm wrestle her? We both know Anko wouldn't have listened anyway, Naruto said. Grr. Hadamara knew it was true but huffed and looked away from his traitorous partner. Yeesh, never knew you were such a little bitch, he stated. Arf. Hadamara barked indignantly at the insult. You know you're arguing with a dog, right? Hate stated as he along with Yugao appeared. Yeah, so? Bet ya the Inuzuka do it, Naruto retorted. Yes, but unlike you, the Inuzuka understand what dogs say, so it's not as weird. You don't, however, Yugao informed the blonde. Truthfully, it was still weird seeing it happen. Less weird for ninja and those used to it, but weird still. So what's the verdict? Naruto asked and hoped for good news. Want the good news or the bad news first, kid? Hate asked him. The boy asked for the bad news first. The bad news is that after we talked with Hokage-sama, we couldn't get you exempt from the Bunshin portion of the exam. If he did, then it would be seen as favoritism, and others who also can't do it would want to be exempt from it as well. Crap, there went that option. And the good news? Here Hate smirked. The good news is that as long as you can show your ability to create a flawless clone during the exam, you'll pass. However, you're incapable of using the regular clone technique, or an elemental one, as he feels it will take too much time for you to get down because of your affinities. So instead, the Hokage has allowed me to teach you a different clone technique that he believes you can use. Okay, what's that? Naruto asked. It's called the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique, Hate informed him. Normally it's only used by Jounin and above because of the large amount of chakra level requirements, but in your case the Hokage has made an exception. Thank you, Gigi, Naruto smiled. Both because of what his surrogate grandfather did for him and because he now be able to pass the exam. This isn't going to be easy though, Naruto, Yugao's voice held a strict tone. It took me and Hate close to a week to properly learn the Kage Bunshin. This technique requires not only a lot of chakra but a great deal of concentration to form and create the amount of clones you want. People have died because of how demanding the technique is.